Hi friends, welcome back to 5 Minute Modern, where in 5 minutes or less we learn about an important artist, artwork, or concept in the history of modern art. My name is Cindy, and today we're looking at ourselves. That is, we're looking at ourselves as seen in the unique work of sculptor Duane Hanson. Hansen is what we call a hyperrealist sculptor. That is, someone whose sculptures are so lifelike they look like real people. I actually experienced a bit of a shock when I saw Hansen's work for the first time at an exhibit at the Museum of Contemporary Art in downtown Los Angeles. I was coming around the corner when I saw what appeared to be an unhoused person slouched against the gallery wall. As I got closer, I realized it actually wasn't a person at all, but rather Hansen's 1974 sculpture, Drug Addict. It was a pretty jarring experience, but I think it's safe to say that's exactly what Hansen would have wanted. He once said it was time for artists to be ugly, obvious, and shocking. There were real problems going on, but in Hansen's mind, most artists were still focused on a kind of purist intellectualism. To understand what Hansen meant, I think it's important to talk about what was going on in the art world during the 60s and 70s when he began his practice. In a previous video on this channel, we discussed Frank Stella, whose deliberately Spartan work focused solely on the materials he used. Stella would be one of several artists who gave rise to minimalism, an art style based on clean, geometric shapes and a preoccupation with raw materials. In the 1960s, it was minimalists like Stella and Donald Judd who were considered the true realists. A 1968 exhibit at the Museum of Modern Art titled The Art of the Real included several minimalists, but no realist figurative artists like Hansen. The exhibit's curator, E.C. Goosen, reasoned that minimalist art was not striving to be like real life, but rather to itself be as real as the objects we feel, touch, and apprehend in physical ways every day. I think Goosen's take on realism is interesting, and I certainly do love Donald Judd, Frank Stella, and other minimalist artists. It can be interesting to give deep consideration to raw materials, and I certainly find simple geometric forms to be pleasing to the eye. However, I find myself siding more with Anna Katz, the curator at the Museum of Contemporary Art, who organized that amazing exhibit where I first saw Hansen's sculptures. In Katz's mind, artists like Hansen are the true realists and the true minimalists. Katz positions Hansen's work in comparison to the 8-foot L-beam sculpture by artist Robert Morris. Unlike Morris's massive L-beam, Hansen's works are true to the normal size and space we occupy as human beings. Katz continues to note that Hansen's work positions the viewer within a tangible time and place. Minimalist art, as beautiful as it can be, is pretty far removed from our daily lives. One typically only sees it in art museums and high-end design boutiques. Is anything minimal much less real if we can only find it in such rarefied venues? Hansen, on the other hand, was wholly concerned with everyday people and their everyday lives. He was born in 1925 on a Minnesota dairy farm, and he chose to live most of his adult life in South Florida so that he could escape the isolation of the avant-garde artistic circles of the big cities. Throughout his career, Hansen focused on refining his technical skills to pursue even more lifelike sculptures, rather than pursuing the stylistic development that most artists aim for. And the result is that we're confronted with sculptures so startlingly lifelike, they can stop us in our tracks. Consider the piece from the start of the video, 1974's Drug Addict. It's definitely a difficult piece to look at. But anyone who lives in a major city can tell you that there are, sadly, a large number of people who are addicted to drugs or who are unhoused and have to live on the street. Hansen's pieces can function like mirrors, reflecting our reality back to us, so that we stop and look at the people we'd rather just walk on past. It's this sense of reflection that I like most about Hansen's work. By bringing the everyday reality of our lives into an exclusive museum atmosphere, Hansen gives us the chance to look closer at the people who make up the world outside museum doors, to pause and to think, and to consider how we want to see others when we step back into the world. Thank you for taking the time to pause and think about this amazing artist with me. I think Hansen's work is really underappreciated, so I'm so glad to share it with you all. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.